Hey guys, it's Ashley, and today I'm going to be talking about the series that I have never finished. So I'm usually the type of person who likes reading a series to finish. Like, I will start the first book and then I won't want to stop until I get to the end of the series. That's just someone that I've always been, and I don't know who I am now that I have all of these books that I've started and series that I just have not moved on to. I'll read the first book and then I'll pick up a different book that's completely unrelated to it, and I will never go back to finish that second book in that series. And that's just who I've become now. I have multiple series that I just haven't finished. For whatever reason or another, whether I just didn't want to move on, whether I got stuck reading another book, whether I, looked at a different book and decided to, stop and do that one instead. For whatever reason, one or another, I have some series I've never finished and I'm here to show you today, so let's get started. So one of the best instances of this case that I can show you is The Darkest Minds by Alexandra Bracken. This is a series I desperately want to finish. I want to finish it so badly. I just haven't yet. I read this first book in July of 2016, I think. I don't know what happened. I remember vividly that I was in Orlando on vacation. I was at some hotel. I was reading it while I was sitting outside by the pool, and I finished it and it was so good. And I think it was just that I didn't have the next book handy to start reading right away. And then I started reading a different book. I think it was like Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix or something like that. And I just never finished the series, and I don't know what happened exactly. Obviously, The Darkest Minds is being made into a movie now. Pretty much everybody knows that it's this dystopian with these kids who survived this illness and got superpowers and are put into concentration camps and all this stuff happens, but I don't know anything that comes after this book. I barely remember what happened in this book. The series makes me really, really mad at myself, to be completely honest. I can't believe that I've never moved on to the second book. I have the second book now. I have it. It's right here. Never Fade. I have it. Just have never picked it up. I don't know what's wrong with me. Another really good example of this problem that I've been having recently comes with Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children by Ransom Riggs. This book, just like The Darkest Minds, I read it, I liked it, I didn't pick up the next one. And I never have, and I don't know why. Do I have the next one? Yes. In fact, I have both of the next books. Have I read them? No. I'm trying to remember back to why I might not have finished this series, and I think it was because I had this thing where I was wanting to read this series and the Shatter Me series at the same time, because Ransom Riggs and Tahara Mafi are married, so it just made sense in my head. I was like, hey, they're like the author couple of the year. I'll just read their books together. And then I think I started liking Shatter Me more than I liked Miss Peregrine's, and then I just kept reading that series, and I didn't finish this one. That's the best reason that I can give you as to why I haven't finished this series. It's still sad. To be completely honest, I don't know if I ever will at this point. I know that he's releasing more books that have to do with this world, so there is a possibility that, the hype for that could make me want to finish this book when that finally comes out. But, as of right now, I just don't have any interest in finishing this series, so it's just gonna sit on my shelf until that day comes when I'm like, hey, Miss Peregrine's, let's finish it. Oh, also, I have the companion guide to Tales of the Peculiar with the little short stories, and it's signed by Ransom Riggs, so I had really high hopes that I was going to finish and like this series. A series that a lot of people get mad at me over because I still haven't finished yet, and this is one of those cases where I want to finish it and I just haven't been in that mood to want to read it yet. It's Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. I went through last year just this Throne of Glass phase where the beginning of the year I read Throne of Glass, and then a month later I read Crown of Midnight, and then 6 months later I read Heir of Fire, and the day after, because it was so good, I read Queen of Shadows. After all of that high fantasy in that same world, I just did not want to read anymore. I think it was also the fact that Empire of Storms hadn't actually come out yet. Or maybe, no, last year was Tower of Dawn. Empire of Storms came out the previous year? Was that what it was? I don't remember, but regardless, I just haven't finished it. I want to. I really want to. I want to know what's gonna happen. People tell me Empire of Storms is so good. People have also said that Empire of Storms is not that good, but I'm not gonna focus on that right now. People have told me it's really good, so I really want to finish it. I just haven't yet. And I know so many people love this series. I love this series, and I don't know. You know what's really, really funny about me not finishing this series? And I just recently found this out. If you go onto YouTube and you type in my channel name, don't ask me why I had typed in my channel name, I was just curious as to what would pop up. But if you go onto YouTube and you type in my channel name, one of the leading search results that comes up is a dash of ash Empire of Storms. And I'm like feeling so bad that I haven't read this yet because you guys are searching for it. I find this simultaneously funny and I feel like shit about it. The next book that I haven't moved on to the next book of the series in is Nevernight by J. Kristoff. If you've read this book, there are the people who absolutely are fans of this book and love it to pieces and are dying for the next book and tweet J. Kristoff all the time. And then there are the people who cannot stand this book because of its footnotes and its language and just all of that stuff. I fall somewhere in the middle. I really loved the story. I wasn't a huge fan of the language, but the story really took over for me and I did enjoy it. I just have no interest in moving on to the second one because half of what happened in this book didn't stick with me. I remember the ending, but that's pretty much it. I don't remember any of the other details. So I just never wanted to move on to the next book and I genuinely don't know if I will. I think I have to have people pushing me to get to the next book, people telling me that it's really good, and then maybe I will. It would help if I had the second book because I don't, but you know, I mean, this is just another one of those series that I just haven't moved on to. Okay, I have to say, this blurb is really funny though. What's that? You say you've got a Japanese steampunk novel with mythic creatures, civil unrest, and a strong female protagonist? I'm afraid I missed everything you said after Japanese steampunk. That's all I really needed to hear. Patrick Rothfuss. You go, buddy. Also, something else that really pisses me off every time I see this book is that this sticker is not real. It's a fake sticker that's been made into the cover and it makes me so angry. Which is another reason why I can't stand to look at this book for more than a period of when I talk about it in a video. And let's be honest, probably harbors most of my resentment as to why I don't want to read the next book. I'm just petty like that. The next series that I've started and never finished, you've probably rarely ever heard me speak of on this channel because I think I started reading this before I made my channel, but that is the Magisterium series by Cassandra Clare and Holly Black. So I first started reading this because it's a middle grade, it's a fantasy, it's resembling Harry Potter, and also it was written by Cassandra Clare, which immediately drew me into it, so I started reading it. And it's really, really cute. It's a really short book. I really liked the first one. I read the second one, it was really good. I'm not really sure what direction they're trying to pull this in, but I think the last book is coming out this year, and so I mean, I don't know. I just never finished it. I definitely thought about it. I'd put the third book in my shopping cart on Amazon and on Barnes & Noble and on different websites, and then I just bought other books that I wanted more. And this book is just, the series has never been high on my TBR. It's never been a high priority for me, so I've never felt the need to buy it. I don't really have much else to say for this series. If you've read past the second book in this series, will you tell me if it's any good? Because the second book was really confusing me. I was not expecting it to go in the direction that it did, and I didn't quite like it as much as I thought I was going to, but I want to know what happens in the rest of the series, but I don't want to take the time out of my life to actually read it, so can you just tell me if it's good or not so I know whether it's worth it to keep going? And the final series I have on my shelf that I have not yet finished is An Ember in the Ashes by Saba Tahir. This series is a little bit different because I have current plans to finish it. I'm in the middle of rereading this book, the first in the series, and I'm going to read A Torch Against the Night After, which is the one I never got to, and then I'm going to read A Reaper at the Gates, which comes out in June. So I'm currently planning on finishing this. That's the difference between this series and all of the other ones in this video. But the fact that I'm putting it in this video is because I read this book a year ago and never did anything with it. I think another reason why I don't typically tend to read books after the first book is when I don't make a book talk for it, or I don't make any kind of a review, or I don't talk about it on my channel. I didn't do anything with this book. I loved this book so much. It was so good, but I never talked about it at all. I just read through it so quickly, I didn't take any notes, I didn't make any video about it, and then it just dropped off the face of the earth in my mind and I never read the second one. So I think that's my problem with some of these books, is that I just need to talk to somebody about them and get hyped about them again after I finish, and then I'll want to read the second book. But like I said, I seriously love this book. I love it even more now that I'm rereading it and remembering all the things that happened and noticing the little things that I didn't notice before. And I'm really excited to get to the second one and the third one because this series is so beloved and so hyped, and it's really, really good. Like, it deserves the hype. So if you haven't picked this series up already, I definitely recommend it. I'm really excited to get to the rest of the series at the end, and I'll hopefully make videos about them this time around so that I'll continue reading. And so those are all of the series that I have not yet finished reading / will not be finishing. Like I said, in the cases like Miss Peregrine's and the Magisterium series, I probably won't finish them either at this point in time or ever. I just don't have any interest in it. I'm sorry, but you know, things like Throne of Glass and An Ember in the Ashes, I have plans on finishing them. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. In the case of Ember in the Ashes, I am, but with the other ones, just not yet. Not yet. If you have any series that you have not finished yet, please let me know down below. I'm really interested to see how many other people do this, where they read the first book and then they just don't read the rest, regardless of whether they loved that book or they didn't. This video is making me feel bad about myself, and also hoping that some of you will relate so I feel less bad about myself, so please let me know. And so that is going to be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you later. Goodbye!